she's Moa Chinnappa. She is wonderful because what she does. कर्म से ही आपकी पहचान होती है, and that is what Moa is all about. She is a podcast host, which is no less a job than a healer. You must listen to her Moa show, and it is only then that you can vouch that yes, the session we attended was actually worth the while for a lifetime. Without taking much time away from you, I would request Moa to kindly introduce herself and also request her to begin this session with the lines she always begins her podcast. I love it. So, Moa, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Manish. Thank you, Geeta. तो पहला जो लाइन है मेरे पॉडकास्ट में वो है ईमानदारी से. तो ईमानदारी से कोशिश करती हूँ जितने सारे हमारे गेस्ट आते हैं उनके साथ बातें करना, ताकि बहुत सारे लोग बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स हैं जान पाएं जो दुनिया में होती है और बहुत अनबायस्ड कॉन्वर्सेशंस है. We don't pass on our judgment with any of the speakers who come on board. I am a rebooter. मेरे ख्याल से बहुत सारे लोग यहाँ पे शायद समझेंगे नहीं rebooting होती क्या है. मैं हाउसवाइफ थी, बहुत सालों तक नौकरी वोकरी सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के घर संभाल रही थी. और बहुत सारे सालों के बाद जब बच्चा मेरा पढ़ने के लिए बाहर चला गया, तब बहुत सारे आप लोगों के मदद से होंगे घर पे, उनको समझ में नहीं आता है कि अब क्या करना है, क्योंकि बच्चों को हम लोग पर्पस बनाते हैं. तो मैं जहाँ पे भी कहीं पे भी कोई भी पोडियम पे जब मुझे जगह मिलती है तो मैं हमेशा हाउसवाइफ्स के बारे में बात करती हूँ, क्योंकि मैं उनको रिप्रेजेंट करती हूँ. 160 मिलियन हाउसवाइफ्स जिनकी आइडेंटिटी घरों के चूल्हे के अंदर ही रह जाते हैं और रोटी कैसे कौन बना रहे हैं उसके आगे की बात. थैंक यू गीता. तो वहाँ से लेके जब मैंने कोशिश की कि मुझे जॉब मिल जाए, तो सब ज़्यादातर लोगों को लगता है कि हाउसवाइफ में ज़्यादा इंटेलिजेंस होगा नहीं, क्योंकि सब्जी वाले के साथ ही मैं ज़्यादा बात कर सकती हूँ, प्लम्बर के साथ या इलेक्ट्रिशियन के साथ, और जो वो काम भी बहुत काम है, बट कोई भी ब्रेन का काम शायद वो मैं नहीं कर पाऊँगी. तो कोशिश थी मेरी कि मेरे को जॉब मिल जाए, क्योंकि बहुत सालों तक मैं एक लीडरशिप पोजीशन पे थी. जब मैंने जॉब छोड़ी थी मुझे पता ही नहीं था कि मैं कर क्या रही हूँ, और बहुत सारे औरतें हैं जो इस तरीके की डिसीजंस लेते हैं, वो आगे जाके बहुत हैम्पर करते हैं उनको इन वांट टू गो बैक. सो व्हेन आई वांट टू गो बैक, ऑफ कोर्स मैंने डॉक्यूमेंट्री में लिखूंगी आप लोगों के लिए, न्यूज़पेपर्स में आर्टिकल्स, पर कोई भी उनको नहीं लगा कि बच्चों के स्कूल रिपोर्ट के बगैर आगे मैं कुछ शायद लिख पाऊंगी. सो वहाँ से मेरी शुरुआत हुई. मैं घर के अंदर जब लिखने की कोशिश करती थी तो ज़्यादातर जो घर में लोग हैं उनको नहीं लगता था कि मैं कोई काम कर रही हूँ, तो डिस्टर्ब करना तो वो पार्ट एंड पार्सल होता है घर में जो गृहिणी होती है. और इस बारे हम लोग एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर लेते, हम लोग इसको लेके कभी शिकायत नहीं करते हैं. तो मैं एक साल तक कोशिश किया मैंने कि आई वर्क फ्रॉम होम, बट वो हो नहीं पाया. फिर मैं कैफे में गई, वहाँ से मैंने स्लोली ब्लॉग्स लिखने शुरू किए. मैं बिल्कुल वाकिफ नहीं थी टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ, क्योंकि बहुत सालों तक वो भी रहा मेरा. तो वो ब्लॉग्स लिखने के बाद आहिस्ता आहिस्ता कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ा मेरा, कि मुझे लगा कि शायद मैं लिख पाती हूँ. And from the blogs, I started writing on the arts and crafts of India. And बिल्कुल बच्चों की तरह ही मैं कपड़े वपड़े पहनती थी, इयररिंग्स पहन के वो फोटोज डालती थी, और बहुत सारी जगहों पे जब जाते थे ज़्यादातर लोग मजाक भी उड़ाते थे इस बात को लेके. पर मैं एक चीज़ जब मैं यहाँ ऑडियंस से मिलती हूँ कि आपका जो लक्ष्य रहता है उस लक्ष्य के साथ आगे इधर उधर की आवाज़ नहीं सुने, आप अपने लक्ष्य की तरफ चलते जाइए. और वो मैंने किया. मैं लिखती गई. कभी कभी बहुत ज़्यादा बुरा लगता था क्योंकि लोग मजाक उड़ाने में बिल्कुल भी नहीं हिचकते थे, बट मैं लिखती गई. एक दिन रोती थी, फिर कॉफ़ी पी लेती थी या चाय पी लेती थी या कोई चॉकलेट खा लेती थी, और मैं दोबारा लिखने के लिए बैठ जाती थी. तो वहाँ से लेके मेरी पहली किताब जो इज ऑन डिस्प्लेसमेंट, मेरी जो पहली किताब है इट्स फॉर 50 शॉर्ट स्टोरीज. इट्स कॉल्ड नौटंकी साला एंड अदर स्टोरीज. नौटंकी साला इसलिए क्योंकि वहाँ पे एक लड़की है जो अपना गांव छोड़ के शहर जाती है, और बहुत बड़ा ये हम देखेंगे तो हमें लगेगा कि what is the big deal of leaving a small town and going into a village, but leaving a village and going into a town, but you know, for a girl who's uneducated and she wants to make a better life for herself, it's a huge move. And these heroic stories are never, ever, ever written about. You go into a coffee shop, you will find people from the Northeast, you will find people from Ahmedabad, you will find people from Bengal, you will find people from Orissa. And they come to different cities where they don't learn the language, they don't know the language, they learn the language, they learn how to make a life for themselves. ये भी हमारे heroes हैं जहाँ पे उनको space नहीं दिया जाता है. तो वहीं से मेरी stories I started writing. तो पहला साल जब people were reading the book, मुझे खुद को हैरानी होती थी कि शायद मैंने लिखा है और शायद people have been very kind to me. Maybe I haven't written it really well. So
that shows she is actually empathetic about everyone. She can place herself into the shoes of the person she's trying to know, and then she is working on. It is not sympathy. It is the empathy which is actually. I think I'm loud enough. Can I? So it is the empathy which actually attracts. Sympathy nobody wants. So she is an ideal person who has portrayed this. And at this age, I'm so proud of her. I, in fact, came to know that I'm going to interview her, and that is the time you really start reading more and more about the person. And the more I read, the more I felt as though I must meet her. And I was actually waiting for today morning. Each one present here will certainly take home a lesson. She has portrayed herself to be such a down-to-earth person. She has told us she was a simple housewife, taking care of her family, her child and herself, and how she found her way. And let me share with you, she is not just a housewife. I would request her to tell her about her corporate world experience. She has helped Indian and international companies to form their brands. No jokes. Forming a brand for a company means you have to become a company owner yourself, and then only you can make your own brand. I think each one here is a BCA, MCA person. So you understand this much more than what a textile designer like me can understand. Okay? So I would like you to ask whatever question you want, and that is what she has promised me. I would request her to tell us more about her journey. She has written in one of her podcasts about her story from bedridden to boardroom. I would request her to kindly throw some light on that.
Thank you, Deepika. So I think it is about diseases, and मेरे ख्याल से जब आपके घर पे your mother has a headache, we don't take that very seriously. I'm a pro-feminist, and I think it's time for us to understand that if a person has a pain, it is equally painful for a man and for a woman. And when diseases happen for women, we tend to always downplay it. We are just tutored to downplay. Well, I downplayed my autoimmune disorder, and I downplayed it by taking more and more painkillers ताकि मैं चल पाऊँ. पर एक वक्त आ गया था जब मैं चल नहीं पा रही थी और हर रोज मैं अस्पताल जाती थी क्योंकि I was almost going to lose one eye. My arm, the right arm, I couldn't move beyond the elbow. And the leg that had a bandage for over almost 6 years, and then came a point when I was fully in bed and didn't help people to go into the toilet. There was a day that I needed to be carried from my car, from the bed into the car to go to the hospital. उस टाइम मुझे लगता था कि शायद जिंदगी खत्म हो गई है बिकॉज बच्चा मेरा बहुत छोटा था. वो मुझे कहीं ना कहीं शिकायत थी कि he used to run to the house instead of me. Without understanding that, मेरा जो एक position थी that he used to come running to me when he came in from school. That also left me very insecure. But I do believe that I was very meticulous about the medication that was given for about 10 years. I was on very, very high sulfur drugs and on steroids, but I continued to put up my show. I never went into the hospital badly dressed. I made it a point to comb my hair. I made it a point to look presentable. And I think that was my way of self-care. My way of saying that I'm not going to let this get me down.
You look so beautiful today also.
Is it the reason you say you're a rebooter?
Yes. I'm a rebooter because I voluntarily gave up my work to run a home like so many women. And I think many women don't realize that economic independence is a huge price to pay. And I don't mince words because it's a price that I too paid, where our voices are not heard when you are not a part of the economic contribution in home. And that's also my fight, which I will continue to take this on, where I will write and write and write about how a housewife needs to be compensated. It is equal work that she does at home as anyone else who goes out and does that work. No work can be done for love and passion. So yes, so that was the disease that took over my life for over 10 years, and then I came back and here I am.
शिलोंग से और दिल्ली से बैंगलुरु जाती है, तो आपने एक रॉनेस देखा है विलेज लाइफ का, उसके बाद में आप दिल्ली गई, जो कि दिल्ली लाइफ, कोई अगर दिल्ली गया हो तो मेरी बात से एहतियात रखिएगा कि वो कैसी सिटी है। उसके बाद बैंगलुरु, जो कि अगेन क्राउडेड है, अपने आप को बहुत मुश्किल से ढाला होगा या आसान था?
Actually, Shillong is not a village; it's a town which has got a lot of the leftover British and the Welsh culture. It used to be the erstwhile hill station of Bengal before it became for the Qasis Shillong. Shillong we left in the 80s because there was an insurgency in Shillong, जिसके बारे बहुत ज़्यादा इंडिया में हमने देखा नहीं है, जहाँ पे हर बंगालियों को अपने घर को छोड़ के जाना we had to do it because they were killing every Bengali inside. So I was very, very young. I was just probably 11 or 12 years old at that time when I left, and or maybe even lesser, maybe 10 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. I never got a chance to say goodbye, and I left. And even today, I travel back in my sleep or in my dreams, or जब बहुत ज़्यादा लगता है कि दुनिया आपको खाने के लिए आ रही है, मैं आपको बदल के शिलोंग में ही जाती हूँ अभी वापस. So yeah.
That is very much experienced in your writings, because you write about the nostalgia, and I think it has a very great part to play. Moreover, we would also like to know, since these are all very young audience here, going to be entrepreneurs tomorrow, or they will enter the field soon. So, what do you strongly feel about women entrepreneurs of today, the Indian women entrepreneurs today?
I think like you had said, कि ईमानदारी से बोलना है. I think for women entrepreneurs, the world is shifting. It is not like it used to be before, but still, women entrepreneurs still struggle with funding. Women entrepreneurs still struggle with industry that will take them seriously. Women entrepreneurs still struggle with gender issues of mobility. Like a man can travel any time of the hour and go anywhere all alone. A woman still has to think about all these things. A woman also plays a role at home and at work, and when you're an entrepreneur, you're completely committed to your work, and that becomes extremely difficult because the environment around you may not be as conducive for you to dive deep into your work as a woman. I also feel that getting funds is still, just the funding process is a huge challenge for women entrepreneurs. We are still learning how is it that we can go out there and find our work, because most of us are trained to not know what exactly is our work. So I think these are the challenges, but I'm very, very optimistic, and I know the world is only changing, and gender is definitely going to become, it will just dilute in the years to come, especially in the work field. It's still low, but we do have a lot of women who are running the workforce. We have women in the combat today in India. So,
yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Do you give any credit to the new men today who are ready to accept working women and are even ready to do the household and work as a non-Indian would do? So how far do you agree? Do you want this question from me to her?
That's a fantastic question.
So, because she as an insider would be in a better position to tell as to whether men are just acting or they really want it from inside, that the women should go ahead, or rather should work shoulder to shoulder? So,
well, that's a very loaded question, Geeta. You put me in a spot. But I think social media is doing some amazing things, and I'm very pro digital media. I am not at all one of those people who think that जैसे पहली बार जब कंप्यूटर शुरू हुआ तो सबने कहा कि लोग कंप्यूटर में जाएंगे and things are going to be crazy, but look where technology has taken us. And I think social media plays a huge role in these changing dynamics of gender roles today. But I still do believe that we are still far, far, far away. As much as it looks beautiful on social media back home, there is a lot of sexist and patriarchal mindset that still stays back. And वो तो जड़ से निकालना तो बहुत मुश्किल है, वो बहुत लंबा सफर है. मुझे नहीं लगता इतना जल्दी निकल जाएगा, but हाँ, होप तो है.
I think Momo's statement probably many of us would not agree कि क्यों social media हमारे लिए इतना problem है. हम सबको तो आता है handle करना. But since she goes into the depth of things, she has met people we have not imagined. She has gone to corners of the world or rather the country where we have not been to, we have not heard about, and that is where the insights have come. So I would again request everyone to please follow her podcast, her Momo show, because that is something which will give you a great insight. In fact, now I would request her to tell us something about her forthcoming book. Letters to my father, that is what she has named it. And I think it is already under publication.
Yes.
And yet to come out, but then slightly more curious to know about आने के पहले कि भाई इसमें what is that which has made her write letters to her father? See, a girl writing to a friend, to a companion, or to a loved one is something else. But when a lady writes something to her father, it happens. So we would like to know the reason behind the name and the theme you feel has guided you through this.
So Geeta, again, it's letting the cat out of the bag before the book is out. But Letters to My Father is conversations that I couldn't have with him when he was alive. My book was released on the 31st of July, and on the 1st of August my father passed away. हमेशा लगता था कि पापा को लेकर कि मैं इंटेलिजेंट हूँ, और वो शायद एक्नॉलेजमेंट नहीं मिला था मुझे. और बहुत सारी लड़कियां हैं मेरे जैसे जो केयरगिवर्स होते हैं, और मैं केयरगिवर थी. मेरे फादर जिनका किडनी फेल हो गया था, and then he had a whole lot of other dementia also. We don't talk about caregivers in India, and we don't talk about how difficult migration is. तो इस किताब में एक्चुअली मैंने माइग्रेशन के बारे में लिखा, क्योंकि इसके बारे में मैं माइग्रेशन के बारे में बहुत ज़्यादा this is my mission actually, because I've been very moved with the migration that we did from Shillong to Delhi and then Delhi to Bangalore. And for my father and mother, they had come from Bangladesh to India, before the partition, and they lost their homes there. When they moved into Shillong, which was the erstwhile hill station of Bengal, they had to again they rebuilt their lives. They again lost their home there, and then moved into Delhi. And when my mother was raised in Delhi in Malaysia, so it wasn't very difficult. I do consider myself a Delhi girl. I had the most amazing relationships, the greatest exposure in the world of media in Delhi. And in Delhi again, like a middle class Bengali home where you try and upkeep your morals and your honest and integrity to your work. But they built their home, and being a single child, when the older they grew, they again had to sell their property and move to Bangalore, which is very close to my house. And all this place was trauma. And that trauma was something that I was witness to. I was like this blanket that had to sponge the whole thing down, and it wasn't easy. There are many questions that I think I would never ever get an answer. So those are those questions I put together in the book. It is also for girls who have difficult relationships with their father, who is the primary person of your understanding of the opposite gender. and yet there's so much of admiration and love also for the human beings that they love. So it's a difficult, like I said, I write very serious and difficult books. I don't know how to do chiclet writing, chiclet writing, which is easy writing. तो बहुत सारे लोगों को शिकायत होती है जब किताब खोलते हैं नॉटक की सारा लिख के लगता है कि एंटरटेनमेंट है पर अंदर जब उसके साथ स्टैटिस्टिक्स है कि इंडिया में क्या हो रहा है और इस बारे में हम क्यों कॉन्वर्सेशंस करनी चाहिए या
Very rightly said, Mama. Thank God, life is not a chiclet. Had it been a chiclet, people would have just taken the juice and spit it out. So what she goes is into the depth, and that is what actually touches our heart so much. In fact, with Mama here, I would also like to know as to she has spoken to us about the displacement, the change from Shillong to other places. But that doesn't stop here. What I have observed in her journey is she has been there in the corporate world. A person who gets service in a corporate world doesn't want to go and do his own business also. Father kitna bhi bolle ghar ka business mein zyada kamayega, he is not interested. But there, she was there with the corporates. And then I see a move of the same person who has come down to the community, to the society, to the sufferings, to the pain of people around. So, she as an author, as a person, and she's also writing a book where I think it is regarding the poetry that you are going to put into it. So, you can see the change of her personality, the change which is coming in her. I would just like to understand that she should highlight on this journey from a corporate world to a social reformer, I should call it. Yes, because her podcasts, her talks, her expressions, her books actually help you to reform your own life. If you read it somewhere, you find yourself standing somewhere and you get answers to so many of your own questions. So, not everybody is very lucky where Mama will come and interview us. But then, while listening to her interviews, you feel that you are somewhere in the corner who's being asked and the answers given, reply to your questions. So, Mama, you should tell us your journey from the person who has made brands for amazing companies, for the high-end companies, and who can also do this. I mean, how come I am unable to correlate the two? So you must help me out. Yes.
So I think I always had that creative bent of writing, which I did not recognize in the initial years. वो recognition नहीं थी और सोचने की भी हमने हिम्मत नहीं की because मुझे लगता था that I needed to earn, I needed to do something that would get me a good salary. Writers के लिए बहुत मुश्किल होता है to earn, आसान बिल्कुल भी नहीं होता है. And आप writing करना चाहोगे as your main work तो आपको script लिखनी चाहिए हिंदी फिल्मों के लिए वहाँ पे the market has opened up. But उसमें बहुत connections की ज़रूरत होती है, बहुत ज़्यादा धक्का उसके बाद आप आगे जा सकते हो. तो राइटिंग की जर्नी तो मेरी तब शुरू हुई क्योंकि जब किसी ने मुझे nobody wanted to give me work. उनको नहीं लगा ना कि मैं बच्चों के रिपोर्ट साइन करने के बगैर और वेजिटेबल लिस्ट के बगैर मैं कुछ लिख सकती हूँ. तो वहाँ से मैंने लिखना शुरू किया और मैंने खुद का लिखा और एक चीज़ जो मैं बहुत I'm very happy to share this what social media has done is that they have given us a free space for us to really go out there and talk about the work that you're doing. And I think we haven't spoken so much about it because there's a new movement of women and women's rights and a whole lot of changes that's happening around society. It's not confined only to the newspapers that used to come, it's also there today on different forms of the digital space. Have I been able to answer it for you? And
I'm still waiting for your transition from making brands for companies to.
So right now, what my podcast does is it's actually like an advertorial to help the SME sector because I think India's very large part of the economy is run by the small and medium-sized entrepreneurs, and उनके पास जगह नहीं है जाके अपने काम के बारे में बोलना। वो टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया के ऑफिस में स्ट्रॉबेरी के चक्कर में ही नहीं जा पाएंगे। वहाँ पे हम लोग हैं आपको स्पेस देने के लिए, आपकी ब्रांड स्टोरी बताने के लिए, क्योंकि मुझे ब्रांडिंग समझ आती है। I've been in this business for very long and I want to spend the next few years of my life helping people who are hesitant in talking about the good work that they do, that they have.
Friends, we all want to do social work, isn't it? Everybody wants to. Many a times we don't know how to do it. Here is a person who is doing it through her narratives, through talking to people, telling them about it, asking them, and then sharing it. So, and today she has also offered help in a very subtle way to each one of us. That she's there, she's ready to make your brand. Now it's our job to approach her and understand as to how we can go about.
Absolutely. And the most critical part is if you have an ideation, you need funds all the time. And someone here is talking about funds. If you have it now, any ideation, I think this is the opportunity. This is the deal, right?
Yes, we are always looking for someone who can lead us, who can hold a hand. And I'm very happy that Noah has a whole lot of her life for this. She has given up so many things and is in for the society. And she wants to be the one who can bring about the change in the society which is required. So the audience sitting here, I would take permission from Noah if I can throw the questions. I mean, yeah, we would like to have an open house and we would request our audience to ask ईमानदारी से जो दिल में आता है वो।
मेरे पास एक क्वेश्चन सवाल है, जब तक एक सवाल के बारे में सोचे, मैं ये महुआ चिरप्पा इस बारे में
I missed on this. Yes, good.
Let's do this. Anybody who's interested, I might still come. Yeah, please. अच्छा चलिए मैं इनकी तरफ से एक और सवाल यू है
मैम आई एम एनसी फर्स्ट ईयर और आपकी मेरी बातें सुन के मुझे आपकी जर्नी समझ में आई थोड़ी बहुत जहाँ तक मैं समझ पा रही हूँ तो आपने मुझे बताया कि आपने क्या किया बट आई एम इंटरेस्टेड दैट कि आपने कैसे किया दैट्स वन ऑफ द मेन क्वेश्चन अगर प्रोसेस पता हो तो डेस्टिनेशन तक ले जाते हैं मुझे प्रोसेस जानना है थैंक यू सो मच
कैसे किया है जुनून है, जज्बा है, ड्रीम है और अपने आप से ज़्यादा दूसरों के बारे में सोचना, तो वो एक मोटिवेशन हो जाती है क्योंकि आप अपने बारे ही हमेशा सोचते रहोगे तो आप लीडर नहीं बन सकते हो। लोग नौकरी नहीं छोड़ते, वो लीडरशिप्स को छोड़ते हैं। तो मेरे साथ बहुत सारे यंगस्टर्स का बहुत नहीं 2-3 यंगस्टर्स काम करते हैं। If I can make a difference to their lives, I think I would have been able to achieve something. So जज्बा तो जरूर है।
सबके नहीं होते जैसे आपका है। मैं आपको बता दूं लोग पहले अपने बारे में सोचते हैं, है ना? भगवान सबका भला करे, शुरुआत उनसे करें। बट आप में जो है वो यूनिक है। आप में बहुत सारी चीज यूनिक है जो मैं दोहरा देना चाहता हूँ ताकि इनमें से अगर कोई प्रश्न भर के आता है तो बहुत अच्छा है। एक तो ये कि आप लोग पढ़ रहे हैं और आप बड़े टेरिटोरियल होते हैं। आपको नौकरी मिलेगी बैंगलोर में आप जाएंगे ये जानते हुए कि वो शिलांग से दिल्ली आ रहे हैं, दिल्ली से बैंगलोर, ये सफर रिलोकेशन का मेरे ख्याल से आपको भी सीखना पड़ेगा। एक संदेश। दूसरा, अगर हम अपने बारे में सोचते हैं तो आपको दूसरे के बारे में भी सोचना होगा क्योंकि हम होमो सेपियंस है, एक हेटेरोजेनस सोसाइटी है जहाँ पर हम एक दूसरे के साथ ही चलेंगे। नाम बदल जाएंगे लोगों के लेकिन ये लोग वैसे ही आपको दूसरे शायद किसी कंपनी में मिलेंगे। तो ये बहुत गहराई से आपने समझा है, शायद इसीलिए आप पॉडकास्ट करती हैं और हीलर के तौर पे पाई गई है। और इसी को जुड़ते हुए मेरे ख्याल से सबसे बड़ा आज का प्रश्न होना चाहिए कि ये रीलोकेशन के लिए आप जो हमेशा नौकरी करती है, प्लेसमेंट्स होते हैं आपके, और आप रीलोकेट नहीं होना चाहते, ये अभी आपको ढूंढना है, क्योंकि प्रोसेस की बात नहीं है। आपको पहाड़ चढ़ना है तो क्या आप आपके पैर टूटने का इंतजार करेंगे फिर मकसद ढूंढेंगे? नहीं, आपको बस शुरुआत करना है।
I will actually take a line from there. Jitna, the more you embrace your discomforts, the better it is for you in life. So when I failed, I used to really feel bad, but that was the time I started writing stories on my own. And because I couldn't move from bed, right? And I don't regret a single day of those days when I was bedridden. It made me realize how fragile we are. When I look back as to how I was bullied in school as a Bengali, how I was bullied on the streets, I have stories of people with me today from there. So please, every time there's a struggle, don't feel that the world is coming down, remember that this is a lesson for you. I don't want to sound like a saint when I'm saying this to you because I'm not a saint, but embrace your... A breakup is a struggle, a breakup is a lesson. Relocation is a lesson, not having money is a lesson, friendships going haywire is a lesson, it's a new path ahead. So don't let any of your obstacles let you down. Yes. Yes.
So when we were talking about rebooting, so from housewife to this world. So, do you feel that there is a role of family support when you are transiting?
If you're expecting family support, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
Why would they?
But does it matter? Does it matter?
Of course
Or
it matters.
it's just a fight of
It
your own?
definitely matters because again, like she was asking me, Geeta was asking me about women entrepreneurs. Confidence is a huge issue that women entrepreneurs also suffer from for the first time. Because nobody around you will allow you to really go on there and try. And as a housewife, nobody would want that role to be shifted or changed. They'd much rather have mom at home when they come back from school. Because I started after my son because he was one of the greatest encouragers in my life. He's been always encouraging me for getting back to work. But जब घर में इलेक्ट्रिशियन की कोई प्रॉब्लम है वो तो मैं हमेशा करती हूँ, जब कोई बीमार पड़ जाए तो मैं ही जाती हूँ, तो इस चीज़ से किसी को भी नोबडी सबको कंप्लेन थी कि क्यों अब सडनली ये लिख रही है, क्या करेंगे लिख के, अभी उम्र हो चुकी है, बच्चा पढ़ गया, बड़ा हो गया, कॉलेज चला गया, शाम से बैठो, ठीक है कोई बात नहीं, सबके साथ सब कुछ नहीं होता है, आपका करियर आपने गिव अप कर दिया, देखो आपके पास तो और भी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. So I don't think women are at all majority of us don't get the support to really pursue our careers wholeheartedly, and that's where I think the new generation brings in a change because they need to be aware that when they are getting into the process of raising a family, they need an equal partner with it. It isn't easy to be a mother, and I think it's the first time that people are talking about motherhood, talking about so many other issues for running a home. It has to be a joint effort, which we didn't have in our generation.
That's a brutal truth. We need to swallow and digest at a very different market. How can you say that? You need a family support and there isn't. Not much.
No. It was very surprising for me because nobody, not even my parents, were very happy about me going out of my house and being out for those few hours when my phone would be switched off, because at home I couldn't write at all because they never even thought that writing needed that little silence. They were very comfortable about knocking the door and saying कि शक्कर खत्म हो गया है, तेल लाना है, घर के अंदर dog is not feeling well, कहीं पे भी वो हो गया, जो वो लोग मेरे ख्याल से the man they really hesitate to do that. They don't hesitate to do that with the woman who's at home. So I had to finally get out of my house and start writing from a cafe, and सबको इतनी शिकायत थी कि तुम 2 घंटे के लिए तुम्हारा फोन अवेलेबल नहीं है. बट वहाँ पे मैंने ठान लिया था कि सबसे ज़्यादा मुझे सुकून मिलता था लिख के. It was like a higher calling, and so I didn't let anybody get me down.
for soul actually. Very hard. We're concluding because of time crunch. Time is a finite thing, right? खर्च हो जाता है समय हमारा. वो 3 चीजें जो आपकी पहचान है. मैं अगर आपका नाम लूँ, महुआ चिलम्बा. 3 words that this girl has asked as a process. What it would itemize maybe.
Yeah, I would just like to add to what Manish has said. We will be very happy if you can, in very short, give a message which you actually want to give to the society, because these are all young takers, and I am 101% sure that each one will understand it to the utmost. Here there are young boys who need to do their homework, because if a woman entrepreneur is unable to go out and feel independent, there lies their responsibility also. It is the responsibility of the men in their lives also. Not only the jazba, the himmat, and probably the outgoing nature, or rather even the knowledge about the subject, but then as correctly asked by our audience also as to whether family support. So family होती क्या है? Family बनती ही husband से है. शुरुआत वहीं से होती है. So each one present here is going to be a wife and a husband in future. So it is a lesson for you, and I would request Moa to in a closing dialogue, exactly tell us as to, because she has been trying to bring this out to a podcast, to a books, to a writing. We are very lucky to have her here live with us. So I would like to ask her as to what exactly she wants us to do about it.
So I just think that as youngsters, if you go back home today, if your mother doesn't have a bank account, please help her open an account. Please have a conversation with your father and your mother for a certain amount of money to put into her account, which becomes her independence. It starts with you. It starts with you taking that step for your mother who may be a homemaker. If she's a working woman, she needs to have independence and not be accountable for her money, like most men aren't. And the 3 things that I would like to say for me would be housewife, rebooter, and I don't give a damn how old I am. This is me. I started when I was 48 years old, and it's been about 3.5 years, and I'm ready to go.
Straight.